Good afternoon. One Zambia, One Nation. We now present the news at 12 hours on TV2, the Pulse of Television. To present it, my name is Mapalo Chibale. The headlines. 2 foreign tourists have been killed by an elephant at the Maramba River Lodge in Livingston. President Lungu has led diplomats, service chiefs and war veterans in laying wreaths at the National Cenotaph in Lusaka. President Trump has again traded barbs with North Korea shortly before offering to mediate in a heated regional dispute. And now the details. 2 foreign tourists have been killed by an elephant at the Maramba River Lodge in Livingston. A woman from Belgium, aged 57, and 64-year-old woman from the Netherlands were killed after they went too close to the elephant to take photographs. Police acting spokesperson Danny Mwale confirmed the incident to TV2 News in Lusaka. Mr. Mwale says the names of the deceased have been withheld until their next of kin are informed. He explained police officers that went to the scene found the bodies lying on the ground with multiple injuries. Meanwhile, Senior Wildlife Warden Southern Region Lewis Daka has told ZNBC News that the two met their fate as they were watching elephants that went within the vicinity of the lodge.
I just got a call that 2 tourists have been trampled by an elephant. So that's how I rushed to this Maramba River Lodge, and only to find the bodies, the 2 bodies of a lady and a gentleman. A lady is Belgium, and then the gentleman is from Holland. Yeah, and from the story, what we have got is that the lady went very close to an animal. I think she was trying to take some pictures, and then it charged towards the lady. Now the man, when the man saw that the lady is being attacked, he decided to try and save the lady. So that's how it also turned now to the man. So both the lady and the gentleman have been trampled on.
Another woman has allegedly been murdered by her husband in Solwezi, barely a week after 2 other gender-based violence-related killings were recorded in Lusaka and Ndola. Catherine Lesa, 51, of Solwezi's Kandemba compound, is alleged to have been killed by her husband, identified as Maurice Mwebe, aged 54. Northwestern Province Commissioner of Police Oxensio Daka has confirmed to Zanis that the incident happened between November 6 and 9, 2017. Mr. Daka says Mwebe allegedly pushed Catherine against a water tank after she went home late. He says Catherine sustained internal injuries resulting in her death later at Solwezi General Hospital. Mr. Daka says Mwebe has since been arrested by police. Last week, a woman of Lusaka's Kanyama compound and a man of Ndola's Mushili compound were killed in separate GBV-related incidents by their spouses. President Edgar Lungu has led diplomats, service chiefs and war veterans in laying wreaths at the National Cenotaph in Lusaka. This is in remembrance of fallen heroes of World War I and II. President Lungu arrived at the Cenotaph at 10:45 hours and was received by Vice President Inongewina. Others that received the President was Speaker of the National Assembly Dr. Patrick Mativini, Chief Justice Irene Mambilima, Cabinet Ministers and other senior government officials. The President proceeded to lay wreaths, and after which the service chiefs, ex-servicemen and members of the diplomatic corps also laid their wreaths. Matero Member of Parliament Lloyd Kazia has accused the Lusaka City Council of facilitating illegal allocation of land in his constituency. This is over extensions of private property boundary fences into road reserve land in Lusaka's Emersdale residential area. Mr. Kazia, who is also Water Development and Sanitation Minister, has alleged that some named people have been allowed to illegally construct on land reserved for expansion of roads. This is, however, with documented permission from the local authority. Patricia Mapiki has the details in the following report.
The writings are bold in black and white, and they greet you as you enter the Lusaka City Council. But allegations are emerging to the contrary, that some officials at the Lusaka City Council are allegedly corrupt. Malaria Member of Parliament Lloyd Kazia claims he has information that some officials at the council are corrupt. This follows the alleged illegal extension of war fences in Lusaka's Emasdo area to the road reserve. Lloyd Kazia, who is also Minister of Water and Sanitation, is certain that some Zambians of Asian origin are allegedly using money to break the law. He says the Anti-Corruption Commission will hear this and wants investigations into the allegations instituted.
Of corruption, we are not a corrupt government. Where there's evidence of us leaders being corrupt, report us. And this is why we are saying we are not going to let people who are corrupt continue to corrupt our people. I'll take it up as a challenge and a representative of Matero to ensure that SCCA is involved in this one.
Mr. Ishmael Patel Mohammed is one of the Emasdale residents who have been caught up in the web. But for him, he has documents to prove his innocence.
No, I got approval first from the city council and from the lands department. Then I extended. I have a paper. Then I paid money for that. You understand? Yeah, the lands department, they give approval.
This man is a caretaker to one of the houses here. He is worried that the road network in this particular area of Emasdale is narrowing every day due to illegal extension of war fences.
This is uncalled for. We should follow the regulations. Even the town planner planned to say this road should be like this. Should leave space for, I think, if the motorists to pass, even the pedestrian to pass. So if it remains unchecked, then it won't go well to the upcoming generation.
The Lusaka City Council, on the other hand, says it is ready to be investigated by the ACC. Assistant Public Relations Manager Brenda Katongola says the council will wait for the investigations to be constituted so that erring officers are brought to book.
That complaint, where people have constructed to block the roads in Emasdale. But on allegations of corruption, it will be very difficult for me, to answer that one. I think the people who are alleging the council are corrupt. We've got agencies that deal with such cases. We've got the Anti-Corruption Commission, we've got the Drug Enforcement Commission. The doors are open, they can always go there and they can always, name the people who have been behind the corrupt practices. I can't defend anyone on corruption levels. If there is corruption and they've got evidence that there are people who are corrupt, let them go to the investigative wings, and we'll be we'll greatly appreciate if those people or the bad elements were removed from the council, because that is what we're trying to remove. And
for now, all eyes remains fixed on Mr. Kazila as he takes the matter up to the investigative wings and what action will be taken on those that will be found wanting. Patricia Mapiki, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Ministry of General Education Permanent Secretary Henry Tukombe has called on Zambians to fully participate in the implementation of the 7th National Development Plan as outlined by President Edgar Lungu in order to develop the nation. Mr. Tukombe was speaking in Kitwe yesterday during the launch of the Kitwe District Education Farm Project that has gobbled over 450,000 kwacha. The Permanent Secretary commended the Office of the Kitwe District Education Board Secretary for its initiative to come up with an agricultural project which he said will contribute to the national food security. Here is a report.
These are not ordinary dances. They are saluting the Office of the District Education Board Secretary for this milestone farming project. This project gobbled over 450,000 kwacha, and part of the money went to buy cows, pigs and a tractor along with 400 hectares of land in Lufwanyama and Impongwe. The income which will be raised, part of it will benefit teachers and learners who are vulnerable.
We know that the government has a position on the minimum qualification. That is a diploma for teachers. But in Kitwe, we still have some teachers who are still holding on to certificates. It's not that they love their qualification, but because they have their personal and family problems such that they can't go for further studies. So as a board, we'll endeavor to identify some teachers who are hardworking and sponsor them so that they can remain in tandem as the government requires.
But how were these funds raised?
Secondary schools were contributing 15,000 kwacha. Primary schools were contributing, that's basic schools, were contributing 7,000 kwacha. And we raised the total sum of 466,000 kwacha.
The function was attended by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education.
The district has done so well of fiscal as it is going to contribute to the national food basket through provisions of quality meat products, poultry and their products, fish, milk, vegetable, fruits and crops. This will enhance nutritional levels of the Zambian people. But let me emphasize a point. When we talk about the two-tier system, the emphasis isn't much on agriculture. What you saw even for the choir and the dancing is part of the two-tier system. Design and technology, art, musical, all these things that you are seeing, it's all because of a teacher.
The district commissioner in Kitwe was also in attendance.
Excitingly enough is that you, as the Ministry of Education, whose major undertaking is to provide education, have decided that you should venture into agriculture. And so I want to salute you, Debs, and the team, and I want to salute you, PS, for the support you have rendered to the district.
And the unions also welcomed the initiative.
We welcome it as a labor movement because we are on the same page. Equally as a union, we have gone flat out to advise our teachers to establish the same funds through the cooperatives.
Mshota Mpundu, ZNBC News in Kitwe.
Transport and Communication Minister Brian Mushimba says construction of communication towers under Phase 2 has started and civil works are already underway at 88 sites across the country. Mr. Mushimba says since August this year, when government signed the $282 million United States contract, the contractor, Huawei Technology, is on course to complete the Phase 100 communication towers by the end of next month. Here is a report.
In 2012, the government embarked on constructing communication towers across the country, mainly in rural areas, to ease access to communication. Under Phase 1, which ran up to 2015, 204 communication towers were constructed. In August this year, government embarked on Phase 2 of the project, under which a $282 million United States contract was signed with Huawei Technology.
That's a very important project for government. Obviously, when you hear the president talk about the inclusion that we need to have for the people living in far and flung areas, such as the rural areas, where our teachers, our nurses, and our people live without proper communication, this project actually touches them because the bulk of the towers are going into those areas. The president witnessed the signing of the project not too long ago at Intercontinental Hotel when we signed with the contractor, Huawei.
Now, Transport and Communication Minister Brian Mushimba says construction of communication towers under Phase 2 is underway and on course.
The project has since commenced. So far as I speak to you, 88 sites across the country, there's active civil works ongoing right now. In fact, this weekend, I'm going around to inspect some of these works. The target was between signing the contract and December, we do the first 100 towers. And we're on target to doing that. The next year will ramp up.
The completion of the construction of the communication towers is expected to raise mobile phone and data coverage across Zambia.
A total of 1,009 towers will be done under this phase. And we're going to raise the coverage for phone and data network to about 94% by the time we finish this project in about 2.5 years to 3 years' time.
One challenge the government has been experiencing is vandalism of the new towers, including theft of solar panels. Elas Lungu, ZNBC News, Livingstone.
Just now we take a break. We have more stories on the other side. Keep watching TV2. Thank you for staying with us, and we now continue with the news. Sewer spillage in some parts of Mandevu compound in Lusaka has become a serious concern among the residents. They say the spillage has been occurring for weeks now and even mixes with some water pipes which are broken on the surface. The residents are appealing to the council and the Lusaka Water and Sewage Company to address the matter before it results in the outbreak of diseases. We have details in the following report.
At first glance, this appears to be just plain mud, but the stench coming out of it makes it clear that it is not. This is sewer spilling in many parts of Mandevu compound in Lusaka because the sewer pipes are blocked. The residents and traders in the area say apart from fearing disease outbreak, they are also disgusted and want the council to find a solution as promised.
Masuwa mwanzini ntimaka ngwana kudya so pano so stinga gule chintu tadya chifukwa cha masuwa ero time ya mvula inokolera ero bana kusobereramo badyakamo
sasa tuwamisha ku at least ma pipe fya bafumyamo babika mu fimi mwandu kyali sura na ifiko aba mukomboni bala kwanisho kugula ifiko firanga bapyanga baposa mulika nani ka center katya
ya kanso ngati ya choka ya bwera ya choka manzi ya kanso then ngati yamba kuchoka manzi ya kanso ya leka isuwa manje yamba kungeresa manzi pamene paja pali ya kanso yamene ya choka so olokorera tingadwani.
And Teddy Mwaba, who is Justin Kawe ward councillor, has called on the residents to keep calm and that the problem will be sorted within the next few days.
Now we did apply to Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company so that they can cut this road so that it joins into the main line which is coming from Buseko. So we expect all this problem to be the thing of the past, because on Monday they are starting to unblock to clear every line where the silt is sitting on. Then once they clear, we are not going to see these streams converging in our roads.
It is hoped that sewer spillage will not be a problem in Mandevu compound come next week, but residents are still advised not to throw solid waste in undesignated places to avoid such problems. Kabembe Kasavula, TV2 News in Lusaka.
The Ministry of Health says the Copperbelt province has the highest tuberculosis TB incidence rate in the country. Health Permanent Secretary for Health Services Jabin Mulwanda says government has since sourced 45 million United States dollars from the World Bank to be used where mining activities are conducted in the province. Speaking when he toured facilities at the Department of Occupational Health and Safety in Kitwe, Dr. Mulwanda said government wants to modernize public buildings and facilities. We have details in this report.
Province that has been found to be hard hit by the prevalence of tuberculosis in the country, and this is why all eyes of the Ministry of Health are on the Copperbelt. The Permanent Secretary in charge of Health Services is in the province. He is on a tour of occupational health and safety facilities. Jabin Mulwanda has toured facilities at the department and is worried at the burden of this ailment.
I must hasten to mention that the TB burden is very high on the Copperbelt. I think Copperbelt has the highest TB burden in the country. And so part of the work that we are involved in is making sure that we don't only look after the miners or people who work in the mines, but also those who live in communities close to mining operations.
On a daily basis, the Department of Occupational Health and Safety attends to over 600 miners. No wonder the government is upgrading facilities to address this challenge, and already 45 million United States dollars has been sourced from the World Bank.
We have a World Bank supported project with 45 million US dollars. Although this money, not all this money will be applied here because it will be applied elsewhere. wherever we have mining activities.
And there is more. Communities where mining activities are conducted will also benefit from the fund.
Part of the work that we are involved in is making sure that we don't only look after the miners or people who work in the mines, but also those who live in communities close to mining operations. So part of this funding will go to community activities aimed at identifying the TB patients and getting them on treatment. It is very important that those that have TB are identified so that they are not passing on the TB from person to person, and they are treated because of treatment.
Plans are also afoot to transform the Department of Occupational Health and Safety in Kitwe into a regional hub. Northwestern Province has also received a similar facility whose construction is in progress. Once complete, the people of Northwestern Province will no longer rely on Kitwe for silicose services. Tamara Mswala, ZNBC News in Kitwe.
The Diabetes Association of Zambia has called on members of the general public to take advantage of free screening events for diabetes. This is as the country joins other countries to commemorate the World Diabetes Day, which falls on Tuesday, November 14, 2017. Diabetes Association Secretary Augustine Mukuka says diabetes is worse than many diseases because it is a silent killer which claims the lives of many if not detected early. Mr. Mukuka has told TV2 News in an interview that the association will be holding free screening exercises in Lusaka next week.
Diabetes is a silent killer and a very dangerous condition even as compared to HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS put together with breast cancer still cannot surmount to the number of deaths which diabetes is claiming annually. So you can see the seriousness that it actually deserves. That's why if all our women folk who are living with diabetes can be accorded with affordable and equitable access to care and education, the management of diabetes in most of our women can reduce the death rate obviously by 50% if we all have to have this information on our fingertips.
The screening exercise will be held on Tuesday next week. SADC Elimination Aid Director Uzai Makomba says there's a lot other member states can learn from Zambia in our efforts to eliminate malaria. Ms. Makomba says out of the 8 countries which are targeting to eliminate malaria, Zambia is the only country that continued on a positive path. She has told ZNBC News in an interview in Tomo village in South Africa that the other countries experienced a setback in terms of their goal to eliminate malaria. ZNBC's Efim Pande reports that this is on the sidelines of the SADC Ministers of Health meeting, which is being held in Polokwane, South Africa. Details in this report.
This is Tomo village in Limpopo province. Cases of malaria are common here. Tomo village is remote and a gateway to Mozambique.
The issue of cross-border transmission is a big challenge, and so countries fail to get to 0 cases because of their proximity to other countries that have much higher burden of disease. And so these are efforts that we're facilitating to really try and identify the sources of malaria in the community amongst community members that typically travel across borders, and try to provide them with early access to treatment before they travel so that there's less chance of them transmitting or importing the disease.
The latest report indicates that over 60,000 people died from malaria last year in the SADC region. and member states are not sitting back. On Friday, SADC ministers of health participated in the indoor residue spraying in Tomo village.
We experienced a little bit of a setback in the elimination 8 countries, which is a subset of the SADC countries, in terms of our goal towards eliminating malaria. A number of the countries, 7 out of the 8 countries, experienced outbreaks, but Zambia, interestingly, was the one country that continued on a positive path and didn't experience this upsurge in cases. So there's a lot that can be learned in terms of what Zambia is doing well. It's not been an easy journey for Zambia, but the results are really paying off, and it's really just about very strong interventions. They're doing indoor residual spraying, distributing bed nets, and really managing a very effective response and using data, very strong data analysis to guide their interventions.
Portanto, são esse tipo de ações que nós já realizamos com a República da Namíbia e que eu estou em crer que nós podemos conseguir realizar também com a República da Zâmbia.
Their work has not gone unnoticed.
That we need to increase the number of community health workers in the field so that people can actually have more testing and treatment. We need to increase the number of mobile clinics in very remote areas so that they can support the community health workers and regularly go and screen and treat people.
I think the strategy of coming together as a region and pushing back malaria and increasing awareness among the community and putting preventive measures like spraying mosquito nets, those kind of things, I think they are extremely effective. So in fact the region needs to be commended for the work that it's been doing on malaria.
As many countries around the world move towards the goal of eliminating malaria, experts believe national efforts are no longer enough to tackle the transmission and importation of the disease across borders. Efim Pandey, ZNBC News, Tomo Village, South Africa.
In foreign news, President Donald Trump has again traded barbs with North Korea shortly before offering to mediate in a heated regional dispute. He took to Twitter to complain he would never call North Korean leader Kim Jong-un short and fat after its foreign ministry called him old. It was one of a series of remarks he made on social media before volunteering his services over maritime claims in the South China Sea. China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia and Brunei all have competing claims to territory in the South China Sea. For more on this and other international headlines, we monitored DWTV. To end the news, we take a look at the headlines once again. 2 foreign tourists have been killed by an elephant at the Maramba River Lodge in Livingston. A woman from Belgium, aged 57, and 64-year-old man from the Netherlands were killed after they went close to the elephant to take photographs. President Edgar Lungu has led diplomats, service chiefs and war veterans in laying wreaths at the National Cenotaph in Lusaka. This is in remembrance of fallen heroes of World War I and II. In foreign news, President Donald Trump has again traded barbs with North Korea shortly before offering to mediate in a heated regional dispute. He took to Twitter to complain he would never call North Korean leader Kim Jong-un short and fat after its foreign ministry called him old. And that's it. That's the news we had packaged for you at this hour. Be sure to join us in another broadcast coming at 14 hours. Until then, my name is Mapalo Chuvale. Good afternoon. Okay, ma'am.